I am back with a new video. This video is going to be dedicated to cold weather riding. I'm in New York, in the New York City area, and the temperature is now dropping way below freezing. And some of us continue to commute, or we just enjoy riding in cold weather. I do ride even in the winter down to about 40 degrees Fahrenheit, a little bit above freezing, I would say. And if you have the right gear, it's really not a big deal to do it. If you're new to the channel, you may want to subscribe. I cover mostly small wheel bikes and small wheel rides, but also topics generally related to cycling, just like this one, which is going to be relevant to anybody riding any kind of a bicycle in the cold weather. First, I would like to look at your feet. If your feet are warm, it has been said, if your feet and your head and your hands are warm, your whole body is warm. This is not 100% true, but it's not far from the truth. If you are riding an upright scooter or mono wheel or something that does not require you to crank the pedal, you can just get the heaviest, tallest boot that you can afford. But if you have to crank pedals on a bicycle, that's not going to work. You can get something like a low-cut boot like the one I'm showing here. It is a bit heavier, a bit more protective than your summer sneakers, but it's not really a heavy winter boot. So what you can do, because it's low-cut, you can easily ride in it, but you still have to make it warm. And the way I do it is I use two socks. I use my normal dressing socks that I would wear to the office normally, and I put on really heavy wool or cotton winter socks that are sold for skiing, for winter sports, something like that, like you see here. And this is really warm, and at the same time it is really agile. And if you need to sit at an office all day long after a morning commute outside in the cold weather, you can just take off the cotton or wool socks and stay in your regular dressing sock all day long, and your feet are not going to sweat. So I would recommend this solution to anybody who needs to commute and who needs to sit around in an office environment all day long. Moving from the feet to the head, the first thing I would recommend would be the face mask or balaclava. This is an item that should cover your head, your ear, your face, your nose in a single piece. So there should be no gaps with the wind hitting any parts of your body around your ears or neck or anything like that. If you wrap your scarf around it at the bottom, it's going to create a perfect seal, except for your eyes. For your eye area, it's going to cover your entire head, your neck, and it's just going to keep you so warm, it's not funny. This is really an absolutely essential item for winter riding. If I have to ride for under 50 degrees Fahrenheit, I always wear my balaclava. These come in a variety of different shapes, cut out for eyes, nose, mouth, or just a minimal eye cutout. You should experiment and find which one works for you. I use two types. One has a center brace. You can see me here wearing that balaclava. And there's another one that's fully cut out over the nose as well. I find that the one with the center brace is warmer, but on the other hand, you really cannot wipe your nose. If in fact you need to wipe your nose, it's going to be difficult. So you might, if you're a nose wiper, you might want to go for a mask that has a nose cutout or some easy way to get in. Once you are set up with a good face mask or balaclava, I recommend that you top it off with a good helmet that offers face protection. I do not care for bicycle helmets that are really just hard hats. They offer no protection for your eyes, for your nose. Those are the most sensitive parts of your head. If you get into any kind of a collision with a head injury, that head injury is going to be your forehead, your eyes, your nose. It's not going to be a twig falling off from the sky or a piece of brick. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's just not likely to happen. And during winter time, the half-face helmet, which is the kind of Giro helmet you see here, this is the one I have or a similar model from Giro, it really makes a difference. It keeps all the cold air away from your eyes. It reduces tearing in a big way. I cannot recommend it enough. I always wear my half-waist helmet when I ride in cold weather, and sometimes in the summertime if I ride really fast. Otherwise, I don't ride with a helmet. But for winter riding, I totally recommend it. I also would recommend that you stay away from cheap imitations. Do not get cheap helmets for $30, $40, $50 because they are not worth the money. They are not well designed. You are going to have uncomfortable pressure points left and right. It's not going to be safe or good for you either, just in case you do get into a collision. At the end of the day, it's going to be so bad, you're going to go back and buy an expensive helmet anyway. I think I paid about $250 for my Giro helmet, and it comes with all kinds of eye shields, different colors, different tints that you can buy. It takes prescription glasses if you have to wear glasses, which I do. It's not a problem with a helmet like this, so it's really, really highly recommended. There are also some full face helmets which are good. There are even full face helmets with heated windshield, which are great if fogging is an issue. Although if you have prescription glasses, that defogging mechanism is not going to make much of a difference. In general, I don't wear full face helmets, mostly because they attract attention from the police, and since I ride a rather fast, unrestricted electric bicycle, I would rather not draw attention to myself. In addition, I also think I might look funny on riding on a small wheel bike with that big helmet, and it's heavy and they limit your peripheral vision to a great extent, so they have certain drawbacks. But if you want to wear them, they are certainly going to protect you from the cold, probably better than any other solution. As far as your hands are concerned, it goes without saying that you should be wearing heavy protective winter gloves with as few fingers as you can manage riding the bike with. I have those gloves, and everybody has some kind of gloves, but for the most part, in and of itself, a pair of gloves is not gonna protect you sufficiently in really cold weather. I would say under 40 degrees, when you approach freezing temperatures, not to mention lower than freezing, a pair of gloves is not going to be enough. So they make these handlebar mittens, which I already have. I think they are a great idea. You can wear a set of light gloves under them, and it's really easy to feel the handlebar, to operate the brakes and everything. The problem I have with them is they are not really useful for people who have all kinds of computers and switches and lights and everything crowding on the handlebars. So in my case, I have a ton of gear attached to the handlebar, and I can't really use this mitten. Also, if you have bar ends on your bicycle, if you have sophisticated grips that have some kind of a bar end, those are not going to fit. So your chances are you can simplify your bicycle for the winter and remove the bar and remove the computer or whatever you can remove, and maybe use one of these mittens. But if you can't, then this is not going to be a solution for you. There are also all kinds of hand warming pouches, some of them electric, some of them kerosene powered. I have tried these as well. This is totally useless technology for a cyclist. You would have to stop riding the bike and pull your hands out of your gloves and warm your hand by touching this thing. It's not useful as you're riding because you cannot put them inside the gloves. They are big and bulky. They really don't do anything, and for the most part, the heat is going to just heat your pockets as you're riding. So this is a waste of money, a waste of your time. Don't use them. I don't recommend them for bikers. This is better for walking or for somebody who's shoveling or doing some physical labor outside in the cold weather, and they want to take breaks and warm their hands with this. For biking, I definitely do prefer the hand warmers, the tiny pouches. These are little carbon blocks that burn just like regular carbon or wood, but burn very slowly and provide a lot of heat, and they have very, very light weight. in a small bulk. You can easily slip them into any kind of gloves. They provide a ton of heat. You can ride way below freezing with them for hours, so they are really, really good. You can see on this one in particular, they last up to 10 hours. And I have been able to store them to an extent. If you don't stop the access to oxygen, they are going to burn out. So what I used to do for commuting was that I would use them for an hour in the morning, and I would wrap them airtightly in a plastic bag, and I could still use them on the way back home. And then they would expire. Obviously, I would not use them for 10 hours, but this is really a great, great invention. You can use them with any kind of gloves, and they are definitely going to keep your hands warm. For trousers, I think the snow pants or skiing pants have no rival. They are excellent, super insulated. They deflect the cold wind. I have been using them for way below freezing temperatures, not just on the bike, but also on my stand-up scooter, just standing there in sub-freezing temperatures, and they keep you totally comfortable. The one thing I would note here is, if you're going to use these with a bicycle, make sure to buy them extra long, because as you're turning the crank, the pants are going to pull up, and if the trousers are not long enough, you're gonna have cold air cutting in between your shoes and the pants, and that's really annoying. So just as you see here on the picture, it's a little too long. I would say it could be even longer than this for riding outside, but you definitely have to buy something maybe a number longer than you normally buy, and so that you can fold it down and keep your ankle area really warm if you need to turn a crank. We finally get to the jacket. If you're riding an upright scooter or monowheel, you should just get the heaviest, longest, most protective jacket that you can. For bikers, you don't want to get a long jacket. It shouldn't go down lower than your waistline, because it's just not gonna fit on a bicycle where you need to bend over. As far as the heaviness of the jacket is concerned, depending upon how cold the riding you like to do in the winter, you may go for something heavier, like a puff jacket, like a ski jacket you see here. But people who generate a lot of body heat, or who don't ride in extreme cold weather, may prefer a lighter jacket. I personally don't really go below freezing, and I do generate some body heat even though I ride an electric bike. During winter, even if you have an electric bike, you can turn down the support to make sure you work harder, you generate more body heat, so you may not want a heavier jacket. I really like this light jacket on Daniel Craig. This was in the Bond movie Spectre, if you haven't seen it. He's looking really fashionable, of course, at all times, and this is a really expensive jacket, but you could buy cheaper versions of the same thing. Notice that the arms are not really protected. That's not recommended for biking. That's more for skiing, because he's at a ski resort and the skiers use their arms a lot. Bikers really don't use their arms too much, so I really insist on heavy protection for my arms, about the same as to the upper body. But definitely a short and light jacket for the top should be sufficient for most people. Finally, a little piece of extra advice. If you want to go extra fancy, and then this is really important in my opinion, is to wear a lot of good cream on your face, especially around your eyes. My favorite is the aloe cream. It comes in so many different presentations. I use lighter creams for the summer, but in the winter there is that heavy buttery kind of version of it. What it does is, if you look at somebody who's been riding for years and decades in the winter, you'll see that their skin, especially around their eyes, is really dried out, because most people don't think they should put on cream, especially men. They don't care about their appearance. And I can tell you, having used these creams for decades, they make a huge difference. So over time, if you don't want your skin to look like that of an alcoholic, this is a great way to go. It really makes a huge difference, and it doesn't cost much money. It's overall a good idea to use cream after a shower especially in winter because your skin is so dry, but on your face it really makes a difference as to how old you look. So this is it. This is my advice for cold weather riding. I hope you're not gonna shy away from the winter. There are a lot of beautiful opportunities, even for snow riding, if you have the tires to do it. It's really a fun thing to do, and I never stop riding. Um, Please subscribe if you're interested in biking, and I'll see you in the next video.